All right. Yeah, okay. So, whoops. What have we done? Right. So he spawns our camera head spawns the projectile now. Oh, nice. Of course, they don't move, which is quite boring. So we're gonna make a move. Yeah, when we're finished here, sounds good. Well, you're finished at 3, so. Okay, so yeah, we want them to move, obviously. So let's make them move. So in our emerald projectile, I'm gonna add tick. Whoops. Like so. Just to override. And then we'll just do add actor world offset. Then we'll just take get actor forward vector times some speed. So we can make a speed variable if we want to. I'm just gonna hard code 1000 times delta time.
What exactly does the get forward or get actor forward vector give you? Is it like in Unity where it's like 100 basically in the direction specified?
Well, in Unity this would be like transform dot forward vector, I believe. So it will be like whatever the relative forward of that transform is. In the case of this actor, the forward vector will be whatever the forward vector of the root component is.
Okay.
So if it's rotated, then the forward vector will also rotate. For the world forward vector, then you can just type f vector : forward vector. So that will give you like 100. So that will be like vector 3 dot forward, I believe, in Unity.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So if you run, you can run, but you can never escape. Let's see what happens. So nothing happens. Fantastic. Why is that? So the thing with this is that by default on actors, tick is disabled when you make them in C++. When you make an actor in Blueprint, by default, then tick is enabled. So tick is something that you have to enable explicitly. It won't just be there automatically. Like in Unity, you just override the update and it just works. You actually have to tell Unreal to be like, hey, I'm gonna tick. You're gonna have to enable that. And as you know, for optimization reasons. So that if you just make a bunch of actors, then by default they're as optimized as they can be. And then you have to enable stuff that will make it, you know, the whole game as a whole run slower, but you get tick. So let's enable that. Whoops. Let's enable that, and we do that by doing primary actor tick set tick function enable. No, wait, no, that's not it. It's b can ever tick. That's it. So we just apply that in the constructor. And that will tell Unreal that this actor, will have the possibility of ticking. We can also disable ticking later on with like set actor tick enabled. But this tells Unreal that it's like this actor can at some point tick. If you said it's a false, it doesn't matter what you do with set actor tick enabled, it will never tick. I believe. I haven't actually never tried it, but I'm assuming that's true. Valid assumptions from my point, I hope.
Is that something that you can use like for your logic to like disable the update?
Yeah. That is something that's used quite frequently.
Okay.
How come we never did this for the camera movement? That'd be the tick thing.
Because
Or
it was
did we-
already added by default.
Oh, okay.
So that's why. That's why I kind of like doing the actors from scratch as well, just because you kind of become a little bit more vigilant to these things, of what's actually being written in your classes. So it kind of becomes a little bit of a habit to know what you're actually writing, rather than having Unreal generate a bunch of code for you and you never like really read it or figure out like what it does.
Hang on. Why did it get added by default in the actor? So just
I don't know. I actually don't know why they have this by default. It's just kind of, they just do it. It even says like you can turn this off to improve performance if you don't need it.
it just happens if you create something that's an actor, or
Yeah, if you create through the Unreal menu. So if you like create it through here, like new C++ class actor, like it will just generate a bunch of code for you, and that code just happens to enable tick.
Right.
But like there's no difference otherwise. It's exactly the same. Okay, so now our projectile should be able to tick. Let's see if that works. So, hooray! So now he's shooting. A little bit weird that we can get like pushed by the bullets though. I think that doesn't look awesome. So I'm actually gonna disable. So the problem is not actually the collision sphere that we've added in the C++. Like the problem isn't really the collision sphere here that we can see. It's actually the mesh. So every mesh in Unreal, if you add them as a component, or really anywhere, it will have collision by default. So everything will have sort of block all dynamic, which means like you can walk on this essentially is what blocking means. While this collision sphere that we're using, that we made through C++, has something called overlap all dynamic. Which means that it will trigger overlap events, but it won't actually do anything like block movement or something like that. So we can't walk on it, but we can go through it and that will trigger an overlap. While with the mesh...
Is it similar to just ticking is trigger in Unity, basically? Just say, okay, can you collide with this, or is this only like a trigger thing?
Kinda, yeah. Except I think in Unity you can be both. I'm not sure if you can be both in this. In here it's more kind of you either block or you overlap, and you can't do both. So either you block, which means like nothing should be inside of this, which kind of makes sense, right? If you're blocking something, then that means it should never be inside of it. It should be blocking. You should walk on top of it or walk into it. So it kind of makes sense that you either choose, should this be overlapping or should it be blocking? But not both. I've at least never made like something blocking and then having it overlap. In Unity you would need another collision component if you wanted both. Okay, so you, in Unity as well you choose one or the other. Cool. But we're just gonna turn off collision for the mesh. So I'm just gonna turn on no collision here. Just go to collision presets, no collision. So now the actual mesh of the projectile does not have any collision. And this is pretty standard, I would say, for actors like this. That are, you know, kind of one note. They kind of just fly through the air and like collide with something and disappear, like maybe collide with the player. I would say it's pretty usual to, like, in the meshes, we remove collision. So we don't want to collide with the meshes. And instead we add like collision spheres. Or collision boxes or something like that. To actually do the collision stuff. Whether it's overlapping or blocking. We kind of use these collision objects anyway. Just because it gives us a little bit more control through gameplay. What the collision actually looks like. So then if the artists want to add a different shaped ball that maybe looks a little bit more complicated, we don't have to worry about our collision changing. We just swap out the mesh and everything should work exactly the same as it did before. So I would say it's pretty typical to just turn off collision on all the meshes. So now if this guy shoots, yeah, it just goes right through us. And the character isn't affected by them in any way. Let's make them a little bit smaller. They're quite big. I'm just gonna scale this down a little bit. Scale the radius down. It's probably good. Cool. Maybe we should make some functionality so they don't actually run into the player like this, because this looks kind of bad. I don't know about you, but I don't love the look of this. So maybe we should make them so they actually stop moving if they actually reach, like if they get within some certain distance to the player. Just so we can test a little bit easier as well, so I don't have to keep moving to get them away from me. So let's add that. So we're gonna hop into Emil Actor. I should have named them something better. I'm thinking about maybe renaming this to like maybe Camera Head or something. Just so we... It's like Emil Actor, what is that? It could be anything.
It's funny.
It's fun. It's hashtag funny joke. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna check the distance here. Float distance to player. Or to target, I'll say. And I will just do... Get actor location. Yeah. Oh, sorry. No, that's okay, that's a static function. Sorry. I'm gonna vector distance. So that's a static function that just gives us the distance between two vectors. We could, of course, calculate that ourselves if we wanted to, but I'm just gonna use this a little bit more clear to read. So I'm gonna say, what is the distance between our actor location and the chase target's actor location? And I'm just gonna say, if distance to target is bigger than some value, 200, oh crap, it needs direction here. Okay, I'll move the direction out. There we go. So I get the direction anyway. But I will only add an actor world offset in case the distance to the target is more than 200. So if we're within 200 units of the player, we won't move. Thomas, are you tired?
Too much information going into my brain right now.
Yeah, it is Friday. Maybe we'll end a little bit earlier because I'm also incredibly tired. Actually, you know, speaking of tired, I have coffee. Hold on, give me 2 minutes. Okay. Right. What the hell were we talking about?
We were doing distance
What?
something.
What?
We were doing
What?
distance or something.
What?
Oh, never mind. Fine. No, nothing. No, you know what? I do have a question though. If you were not like actively on a tangent, I do have a question about
Yeah.
distance to target.
Shoot.
What axis of the distance does it return? Because it's comparing two vectors.
Yeah.
But feel like the distance on. No, wait. You know what? Never mind.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I kind of had to ask the question out loud to figure
Yeah,
it
no,
out.
it's fine. Yeah, it's just getting the length of the difference between the two.
I have a question though.
Shoot.
Is there's like a square, like what is it called? Square distance check or something like that? That is a bit more performant.
I thought so, but apparently there isn't. Dist. Oh, it's called dist squared. Oh, that makes sense.
Right.
Of course, it's called dist squared. Because distance was just too hard to write. So yeah, if we wanted this to be a little bit more performant, we could do dist squared here, and compare that to the square of 200. Gonna save the bytes. Well, that's more like save the nanoseconds. Okay, I'm gonna just keep it at distance. Why not? What is that image? How did you paste that? I hate it. God. All right. So now this should only chase up to a certain distance, and then you stop. Oh, is that your Elden character? I thought it was a picture of Tove, actually. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. It's Friday. I'm tired.
Better not show your ass at school anytime
No,
I'm
you're
here,
gonna fucking.
bitch.
I'm gonna get suplexed. Suplexed into the glass window. Okay, so now they should only chase me up to a certain distance. And there you go. So now he stopped at 200 distance. So I can move within there, and he won't change. But then as soon as I move out of that distance, then he will move back in. Very cool. Alright, so I think it's time for us to take some damage. Oh shit. Okay, so I think it's time for us to take some damage. So that's damage. Damage. So it's time for us to take some damage. So we want to check something on the projectile to be like, oh, do you overlap the player? Like, we could check the other way around, that the player checks collision with the projectile, to see like, oh, did we overlap something, and was that thing a projectile, then take damage. But I usually prefer to do it the other way around, to have the projectile collide with the player, sort of. So, let's do that. Whoops. So I'm gonna go to the EML projectile. Time to set up an overlap again, everyone's favorite function. So we're gonna do collision, on component, begin overlap, add dynamic. Fuck my ass. There we go.
Just to clarify, add dynamic is basically subscribing to an event.
Yes.
Okay.
Add dynamic is subscribing to an event. So we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do a ML projectile. I call it handle. Begin overlap. I want to make a pro tip here. Don't space your. Don't space it like this with spaces in between the colons, because it will break. So don't do that. I don't know what kind of cave troll would do something like that, but yeah, don't. So yeah, so let's make this function then. So void handle begin overlap, and then we have whatever the fuck the signature was, which I always forget. I'm just gonna compile to get an error, and then perhaps from that error we can kind of see what we need to write. Yeah, here it is. So it's trying to convert. Yeah, so cannot convert argument 2 from void to void, and then with a bunch of to void, and then a bunch to void, and then a bunch of inputs. So we have u primitive component pointer. So add that u primitive component pointer, and that's gonna be overlapped component. I don't have a good way to remember this. It's just kind of you just have to remember it, and then it's actor, other actor. Then it's u primitive component, other component. That's gonna be the body index, I believe. Yes. In 32, body index, and then bool from sweep. Also bools, for some reason, for some unknown reason, bools are always prefixed with a little b. So when we do any bool variable, we call it b from sweep instead of just from sweep. So little b means it's a bool. I don't know why. Ask Sweeney. And then it's just gonna be a const reference to a hit result. Sweep hit. And there we go. That's the overlap function. God damn. I wish they made like a struct out of this. It's like a overlap struct or something. Would have been so much easier.
Emil, I have a question regarding that bool thing. If I don't know, wait, I'll just post it in the chat. In the method for add movement inputs, there's like at the end, there's like the commented equals false. What exactly does that mean? Like, and this is in the built-in function of add movement inputs.
So the reason for that is that when you add default parameters to functions, you can only add those in the header. So only in the declaration can you actually define default parameters. And in the C++ file, in the implementation, you can't do that. You cannot put any default parameters. So the comment is just to remind you that bforce is defaulted to false. So that's just a reminder.
Okay. So yeah, it's basically just a reminder then.
Yeah, it's just a reminder.
Yeah, and you have to put the false last also for it to work.
Yes, as Daniel figured out by careful process of elimination yesterday. That's good science. Okay, so there's our handle overlap. How nice. That took like 5 years to make. So let's implement it then. I'm gonna be honest, I hate doing overlaps. I hate this shit so much. I hate this. I hate having to remember its fucking function. I just like try to find the best possible way to just copy it from somewhere else. But alright, now we have it. So now we have the other actor, and we're just gonna check if the other actor is a pawn. So if other actor is a pawn, then let's just destroy actor. Oh, it's just destroy, sorry.
So it will be able to destroy any actor.
Well, in this case, we're just destroying ourselves, but of course we could do also... let's try it, let's see what happens. Other actor... destroy. So let's see what happens. Alright, so let's run. Let's earn. Whoops. Unable to bind delegate. Function might not be marked as U function. Yeah, so I forgot to make the handle begin overlap a U function. So I'll do that. How silly of me. How silly. Whoa. Okay. Thanks, TeamVR. Okay, so let's see what happens. So I'll step into this camera and then... Ta-da! The player has been destroyed. So then the camera kind of looks out and looks up and I can't do anything.
Wait, where did you add this add dynamic?
In the constructor.
For some reason, I have to put it in begin play.
You know what? I remember that my lead programmer at Hazelight, he said like you should never put add dynamics in construction scripts. No, sorry, in constructors. But the Unreal source code tells you to do this, and all like example files and everything does it. So I don't know if he was just paranoid or if there's actually something bad with doing a dynamic in the constructor. But is it not working?
Yeah, it ain't working.
Oh, finally we crashed. I was looking for that. Sorry, what did it work or did it not work?
I had to put it in begin play.
Oh.
Your nightmare become true.
Yeah, maybe he was his paranoia paid off. Alright, we got a crash here. So we got an exception from reading here. So the problem here that I kind of wanted to point out yesterday, but I'm pointing it out today instead, is that this chase target on our camera head is just a raw pointer, right? It's a naked pointer. And some people pointed out to me that they got a warning in Rider telling them that like, oh, this pointer could be garbage collected at any time. And that's exactly what happened now. So chase target is just a raw pointer, naked pointer, which means that when we destroy the player, and then after a while the player object got garbage collected, that means suddenly this pointer is garbage pointer. It's just pointing to memory that doesn't exist anymore. Because our player got removed, deleted, destroyed, wrecked. So then we got a crash. So the thing we have to do is that we have to make this not a naked pointer, but rather a safe pointer, or sorry, a weak pointer. And we could do this by wrapping it like this, like T weak object pointer. We could do this. So a weak pointer, just for a refresher. A weak pointer will keep track if the thing you're pointing to has been destroyed or not. If it has been destroyed, then the weak pointer will become null. So it doesn't own the object. It doesn't own the chase target in any way. Something else owns it. It's the engine. But as soon as that gets destroyed, then the chase target will become null. So it's weak. Like if it gets destroyed anywhere, become null. So it's safe in that way. So we could do that. Or we can use declare it as a U property. So declaring these pointers as U properties will actually make them into weak pointers down under the hood.
Can't you just Like when right before destroying the player, just put chase target to null pointer.
Well, then the player would have to like loop through all the camera heads and like kind of set them out to null pointer, which seems like a lot of work to just avoid making it a U property, in my opinion. But you could do that. It's also an event like on actor destroyed. We could like hook up to that, so like when the player gets destroyed, then we set it to null pointer or something. This in general is just a clean way of doing things. But the fundamental point is that we want to be very careful when we have naked pointers. Sometimes we have to have naked pointers, like in some cases. And then we just want to make sure that the thing we're pointing to, that doesn't get destroyed when we're not looking. So, in this case...
how come this makes it a weak pointer by default?
It's just because like the auto-generated code for U properties. Remember that Unreal does a bunch of generation stuff. That will sort of keep track of that.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how, but I know it does.
Yeah.
It's Unreal magic happens, and then it becomes a weak pointer down the line. So I mean, it still is a pointer. It's not like the type will change. Like the type will still be a pointer. It's just that somewhere in like the actor, like when the actor gets destroyed, it like goes through like, okay, which other actor's references this actor, and then goes in and sets the pointer to null pointer. So it just like kind of manually goes in and does that somehow. Let's see now if I die. Bye. And we kind of wait for a little bit. So this is kind of what people talk about when they say like knowing about the Unreal's garbage collector, because unlike in Unity where it's like almost impossible to get a garbage reference, in Unreal, since it's just using like native C++ essentially, like I mean you could do anything that you can do in C++. Like the garbage collection isn't a feature of the language, it's a feature of the engine. That means you have to kind of be a little bit aware of what is garbage collection, when when can it cause a problem, and just to be kind of in general just mindful of pointers, like is this pointer safe or is it not safe. And there we can see the player got garbage collected, and now he stopped shooting. The camera head stopped shooting because the pointer that we made, like the current target, got set to null pointer.
But what about all the bullets that are in like the scene? There's like 169 of them.
Nice. Yeah, we should probably have some sort of timer on them, I would say, to make them go not alive anymore, also known as kill. So we should have some sort of timer on those. So let's add that. Yeah, I'm a TikToker, by the way. Follow my TikTok where I dance. So let's make a timer here. Yeah, I'm gonna call this get game time since creation. Which is an actor function. And I'm going to just return how many seconds have been passing since this object was spawned. Or this actor was spawned. Or when it was... if it was already in the level, then it would be the time since you started the game, essentially. Or started the level. So I'm just going to say if game time since creation is bigger than, I don't know, 4 seconds, then just destroy.
Wait, is that the equivalent to delay in the blueprints?
Kinda similar, I guess. It would, yeah. I mean, the code would be like doing in begin play, doing delay 4 seconds, and then destroy. It would be kind of the same thing, yeah. He's done in C++ unfortunate duration. Okay, so now we're destroying. So let's see if it works. What is this in Minecraft thing? Is that like a joke? Is that like when you say something racist, but then you say like, oh, I just made it in Minecraft. I was just making racist in Minecraft, so it's fine. Is that what it means?
I don't know why racism is your first example, but kind of.
Because it's something bad. It's something bad. It's bad to be racist, guys. There you go. That's my platform.
Emil, I love you.
Thank you.
Minecraft.
Oh no! Ah fuck. Okay, so now we should see. Yeah. So there we go. So now after 4 seconds, the bullets gets destroyed. So that's good. This actually reminds me of the networking course I did with FG20. That like we made like an arena, like I don't want to say battle royale, but like everyone in the class joined the same server and we just fired at each other. And then if you got hit once and you just shut down. I thought it was pretty funny. They just kicked you from the server and crashed your game. Anyway, so now okay. So now
that sounds amazing. Actually, can we do that too in our network thing?
Yeah, we're gonna do that. It's gonna be fucking sick.
Yes.
We had so much fun. We just played all the time. We never actually coded anything. We just made the game and we just played it. Fuck. So so neat. Okay, so maybe we should make something a little bit more sophisticated rather than just destroying the fucking player. Seems a little bit heavy-handed. Shit. So let's let's
Can you not?
Hardly annoying at all.
Yeah, it kind of hurts.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
I'm not annoying, I'm funny.
You're funny.
I'm
in
hilarious.
Roblox.
I'm hilarious and cool. Let's take 10 minutes. So 14.
Are we gonna do like raycast or something like that? Could we look at that?
Well, that was actually what I was thinking about. Cause it's kind of lame. It's kind of hashtag lame that the bullets go through like walls and shit. So I can't even duck for cover. Like I just die anyway. So I'm thinking maybe we should replace the bullets. So instead of overlapping, they actually do a little bit of a sweep. So that when they hit the wall, they die. So I'm thinking maybe we'll do that after our break. So
Okay, sounds cool.
yeah, it sounds fucking sick. Thank you. It's fucking awesome. It's fucking fantastic. God, this is such a low quality lesson today. I'm so tired. Okay, go away so I can fucking cry for myself for 10 minutes and then we'll reconvene, okay? So
Yeah.
see you soon.
Leave your camera on if you're crying.
No, this is for me only. Okay, bye. Hey. Hey.
Hello. Emil,
Yeah.
how do you cast a pawn if you use the weak pointer, like that T weak pointer thing?
Well, my dear sir, you don't. No, I think you have to. I think you have to. Ah, God damn it! I think it's like cast weak pointer or something. Like there's a function for it. But you can also just do cast. Oh no, it showed up. I don't know. I can't remember what its name is, but it's something. But you can also do cast, and then do chase target get, like this. So
I don't understand what is ticketing here.
oh, whoops! Right, of course I made a pointer. Yeah, I'm assuming you're questioning if you're using this, right? Right? You're muted.
Yeah, that was the one I meant. I might have used the wrong thing. I used that T weak pointer. Like I didn't have the object in it.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah, I think you need a T weak object pointer.
Alright, cool.
Yes, queen. Alright, so let's make some gosh darn collisions, alright? I'm sorry I called you a queen. So we're gonna have the bullets. And then we want them to collide with shit. So they actually go away. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna do a sweep. Alright? So remember in the add actor world offset that we had a bool. A bool. This B sweep. So what's a sweep? Tove is like, yeah, what a sweep. Yeah, what a sweep. I'm sorry, Tove. You know I hate you cause I ain't you, you know? That's how it is. So what so what the sweep is that an actor, in this case in add actor roll offset at least. No, I didn't say that. So what happens is that it will try to move with all of its collisions, right, to the next location. And if anything collides, even a little bit, so even if something sticks in like this, then it will detect a collision here. So it will be like, oh, you hit this box here. With like the edge of the sphere collider. So then what will happen is that it will cancel its move there. So it will move up to the collision, even though it's like sort of the target point was over here somewhere. It will stop its move right up until it hits something. So it will only move up until it hits something. That's a sweep. Man, everyone, I'm trying to fucking teach some dope ass collision shit over here, and everyone's just focused on the one thing I said that one time.
Is this similar to what we did with the step function in SDL?
Yes, exactly. So when we did a step, we did kind of a pseudo sweep, where instead of doing this gradual, continuous collision checking, instead we did like, ball is here, move ball, and then check collision, right? So we only did these discrete collision checks, which had the issue, right, that you could tunnel through things. So even through here, between point A and B, there is collision. Like in the middle here, it would collide with the box. But just because the step is big enough and we only do like a collision check in the beginning and the end, then we can tunnel through it if we're going fast enough. So that's the difference between like that kind of discrete collision checking and this continuous sweeping. So that's neat. So I'm gonna set that to true. We're gonna sweep, baby. B sweep equals true, baby. And then we have a pointer here. And that's the hit result. So if we have a hit, if the sweep fails, that is we hit something, then this hit result will give us some data about like what did we hit, what was the normal, what was the location, blah blah blah. It's gonna give us all that good shit. So I'm just gonna provide a if hit result pointer here. So F hit result sweep hit. There we go. So I'm just providing a pointer to this sweep hit structure, and we'll fill it in with whatever the sweep results in. We could sweep separately from the move as well if we wanted to. Like there are functions for just sweep, like just test it, like just query the sweep, don't actually move anything. Just kind of annoying to call. So I prefer doing this. Because in the end we're gonna move anyway, so it's like might as well do the sweep in the move. Why not? And then it sets up everything, like it checks with all the colliders that we have on the projectile and blah blah, all of that stuff as well. So is this not interesting to you, Thomas? Excuse me, am I boring you, Thomas?
No.
Is there anything you want to tell the class?
Yes.
Are you and Ruta passing letters back and forth? I saw it.
What?
Oh, okay.
I'm just asking her about shaders now and again.
Yeah,
Oh,
like I'm
okay.
doing random shit here and he's distracted by that shit.
No, okay, well, alright. Some of us are trying to work here, so.
It's more interesting with what I'm doing, you know.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm so fucking mean today. When I'm trying to pick out. When I'm
Yeah, you
tired,
actually
I'm
should be
just like,
nicer.
fucking, you will suffer with me.
Emil, just be nice.
I just want to have fun.
I have a question though, if that's okay. I don't know if I missed it, but is it possible to only have the sweep, like the sweep check, the true, or do you have to have what it hits as well?
I actually don't know. I believe you can only set sweep to true, and then you just don't care about the hit result. If you only wanted to like stop when it hits something, you could try it and see if anything happens. I would say. I could try it as well, but that would require work from my side, so I don't wanna do it. You look so disappointed. Yeah, I'm the bad teacher. Okay, anyway. So we're sweeping to true and we're getting the hit result out of it. It's important. I want it. That's why I don't want to try it right now. But we can try it later. It was a good question, Thomas, okay? It's a good question. Get off my back. Don't look at me like that. Okay, so let's try it. Okay. So if I shoot now, then they still go through the wall. Okay, so fantastic. So it doesn't work. I'm just gonna remove the killing the player because it's kind of annoying me right now. I'm kind of getting a little bit irked by that, so I'm just gonna remove that. But the reason it doesn't work is that remember that when we so remember that when we set up our projectile, we removed all the collision from the sphere, so that has no collision. And the collision sphere that we added through code has only overlap. Like if I look down here in the matrix, it has overlap on everything. Just overlap all. And like I said, blocking is for when you want stuff to not be able to penetrate, not be able to overlap at all. Like they should stop when they run up against each other. And that is used with the sweep. So the sweep will check, okay, I'm gonna trace against shit, and if there's a block, then I'll stop. That's kind of what it's looking for. Are we running up against something that is blocking? In that case, we should stop there. It does not care about overlaps. Overlaps, it will just barrel right through. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take this collision sphere that we made, and I'm gonna change it from overlap all dynamic to block all dynamic. So I'm changing the collision sphere's collision profile to be block all dynamic. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about how the collision system works, like with this matrix and shit like that, and what object types are. We'll take that in a different video later. All we need to know that now is that we just want to block everything. So I'm just gonna change the collision preset to block all dynamic. Block all would work as well, but for unspecified reasons, we're gonna select all block all dynamic. All right. The reason is unspecified. The reason is so you have something to ask about. So now when I shoot, hopefully it still goes through the fucking wall. You know what? I think I may have made a grave. I have made a grave mistake. A horrible mistake. Just an absolutely terrible mistake. And the mistake I made... Classic... Oh, you take that back, Jesper. You take that back. I never make mistakes. This was on purpose, okay? There you go. I trolled you. I was merely pretending to make a mistake. The mistake I made was that... The mistake I made was when I said... Like, let's rewind here and film it and play it back in like black and white with like dramatic music. When I said like when you sweep, it checks all of its collision components to see if anything is hitting. That was my statement. It checks all collision components on the actor to see if anything of it is colliding with anything else. And that was a lie. I did a lie to you. It is actually not all components. Not all hashtag not all components. The actual reason or the actual thing that happens is that it takes the root component and sweeps with that. So it's the root component is the only thing that affects a sweeping collision. That affects a sweeping collision. Excuse me. So that's the problem. And of course, on our projectile, our root is just a scene component. It's just nothing. It's just a nothing. It's just a transform. It doesn't have any collision on it. So that's why our sweeping is failing here. It's quite an easy fix here, though. A bigger fix would perhaps be to sweep only with this, like do the custom sweep where we like define like exactly what shape we want to sweep with and blah blah blah, all of that stuff. But we can just change these out and nothing would actually change. We can just kind of remove this scene component root. We don't really need it. So I'm actually gonna make this collision sphere the root of this actor. So I'm just gonna remove the roots. And just make the collision the root component.
Wait, didn't you mention that there was a specific reason why we had a scene component as the root component?
What? Can you say that again?
I remember you mentioning something about saying that a scene component was supposed to be the root component, or is this something that I just made up?
It's quite common to have a scene component as the root, but it's nothing that's required. We could have
anything can be the root component.
Yes, anything could be the root component. And this is actually, I think, the reason why, if we look in our awesome character, it actually has the capsule component as the root. And that is probably because of sweeping.
So you cannot like specify the sweeping for another component. It can only be used for the root component.
This is only for when we're sweeping with add actor location. So that bool, the B sweep bool, this is only for that case. If we want to do like manual sweeps, of course we can sweep with anything. It doesn't even have to be a component. We can just define like a hypothetical sphere that we sweep with. Like we can query whatever we want. It's just a bit more annoying. Maybe I'll talk about that some other day, but not today. No,
you would have to like make your own sort of function for that specifically.
Yeah, it's a function call. I think it's in get world actually. I think it's like. Yeah, here's like a bunch of things like sweep multi by channel, sweep multi by sweep single, sweep test. Like there's a bunch of sweeping functions. You can even do async sweeping, which is kind of cool. So here we would have to call one of these functions, but as you can see, they're quite annoying. Like, there's like a bunch of fucking things you have to set here, like the start, end, rotation, profile name, collision shape, and blah blah blah. So I just don't want to do that. I just want to keep it nice and simple. But yes. What does profile and channel mean? It's I'll get to that another day. But the big difference is that profile is for objects and channels are for tracing. It's the one sentence answer for you. Similar to Unity layer mask. Yes, quite similar to Unity layer masks. Very similar. Okay, so now that the collision is the root component, let's see what happens. By the way, when you're at the company, you most likely will have some sort of distributed compiling system, like Incredibuild and stuff like that. So that instead of building just on your computer, it will actually use all the CPUs in your company to build. That will significantly speed up your compilation times. So that's quite nice. So compiling times isn't quite as big of a problem in the companies as they are in when you're doing it at school. So now we can see that the bullets are kind of piling up there. So you can see as they reach this block, then they stop. And they actually collide with each other. So you actually get this little line of bullets forming, because they actually sweep and hit each other. So you get a little snake. So that's quite interesting. See that? That's very funny. Was that a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure reference? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't watch kids shows. So now we can see that we have this little snake building up. So that's good. So the sweep seems to work. Great. So now we actually want to do something. Man, that's the easiest way to trigger anime fans. So you say like, no, I don't watch kids shows, and it's like, it's like instant.
Called cartoons. It's
yeah,
even
cartoon.
better.
Yeah, we gotta watch cartoons for children. I only watch My Little Pony. So we want to like, yeah. So we want to make it so like when it hits something, then destroy. So like if it hits the wall, God, it's so crazy now. So like when it hits a wall or something, we want it to destroy, being like, okay, you hit something, yeah, you're done. So let's do that. Whoops. So what we're gonna do is that we have this sweep hit, right? So that's gonna be the result. That's gonna be the result of the sweep. I don't like this brony talk, alright? Let's just move on. So we're gonna do sweep hit dot b blocking hit. And that means there was something in the way that was blocking us. essentially meaning that the sweep failed, essentially. So we're just gonna say, if the sweep hit B blocking hit, then just destroy. Pretty easy. Man, today's lesson is just... I don't know what am I gonna say to fucking...
Just today's? Like, is it just
yes,
today?
yes,
Sure.
today's Ruda. The rest of the lessons are fucking great.
I'm just trying to make sure.
Yeah, okay, you take that back, Missy.
No.
So now, when it hits a wall, then yeah, then it destroys. So that's good.
What is the B blocking hit?
So the B blocking hit in the hit results is that in between now, like where we began the sweep and to the end of the sweep, where there's something in the way that blocked us. You know, was there, in this case, like was there a cube in the way that blocked us from going to where we're to our target? You know. So that is what B blocking hit is. You can see it as like B had hit, I think is the name in Unity, isn't it? In line traces and stuff, isn't it? At least like had hit.
Yeah. So it's like it's checking from where it started to where it's going. That in between those 2 points, if there was something, then just do the thing.
Yes. Yes. So so yeah. So what's cool now is that we actually don't even need the overlap check anymore. First of all, it will never be triggered. Because of course, as soon as it hits the player, then it just gets destroyed. So we actually don't even need the overlap check anymore. Because what we can do is that if we had a blocking hit, we can check which actor we hit. We have an actor here. Does it get actor give us a pointer? Okay, I'll do get actor. So I'll do actor, hit actor is equal to sweep hit, get actor. And then we can simply check here if hit actor is a pawn, then hit actor destroy. So now we don't even need to do the overlap, because the sweep will actually do that for us. Isn't that neat? Ain't that just something else? Like, this is the thing that happens when I do teaching. I used to say stuff. I used to say whatever happens in my head and it just comes out. Like, that's just hate me or ain't me. Hate me or...
Wait, show the code.
Yeah. That's why I'm more relatable, you know, than those boring straight edge teachers, you know. I'm the cool teacher who gets...
I have a question.
Who gets the kids, yeah?
I always have questions.
Yeah, that's good. It's good.
The F hit result.
Yeah.
When exactly does that get set? Because here you're never setting it. So is that like something underlying? Like it does that somewhere else, I assume?
Hold on. Yeah, it gets set in here, in the add actor word offset. Since we're providing a pointer to it. So that's why. We provide a pointer to the hit result, so it gets set somewhere inside of this function.
Okay.
Yes.
And then why is it called F hit result? Wasn't like F like floating something?
So F is for any structure that is not a U object.
Okay.
So like any struct or class that just instant value object is F. It stood originally for float, yes, but now it just stands for fucking anything.
Okay, so it stands for fucking anything.
Yes, that's what it stands for. Yes, you can quote me on that. Was there a question there, Alphonse?
Yeah, for some reason my tick just doesn't work. It just doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything?
Yeah, like I tried putting a debug log in it, but tick doesn't even... tick isn't even being called.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what the problem is. So if you have a begin play, right?
Yeah.
This is a super stupid loop pitfall that I hate. I hate that I did it this way. You have to remember to call super begin play. Because that actually sets up all of the tick stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's just dumb. Yeah, I don't like this at all. Because I never like calling super.
Do you also have to call the super tick?
No.
Or when do we have to call that?
Begin play. I believe that's the only important one. I don't
but
think
what is super anyway?
Because I think we have like super tick in the tick function in our app.
Yeah, it's called super. Yeah, it calls super tick in the default code. I don't think that does anything important. Super in the case of Unreal, super is a little bit of a hack in Unreal to call the parent begin play. So super will just be whatever the class you inherited from. So in vanilla C++, you would write it like this. To call like the parent version of the function. But in Unreal they just hacked it in so you can just type super. It's it has to do with this generated body. In here there happens some fucking wicked ass shit in here in this generated body. And one of those things is type defing this super here. We can actually go to a actor tick just to make sure nothing crazy happens in there. Please. Where the hell is tick? There it is. Oh god. Okay, this actually looks quite important. You know what? Call a super tick as well. This looks very important. This looks scary. I don't wanna deal with this. I think that this is the super of tick actually calls the blueprint tick. Which is very weird, since like super would mean calling the tick of the parent, and that calls tick of the child. Very cursed. I hate this, but yeah, you should call super tick as well. I learned something today.
But that sounds like it would end up in like an infinite loop.
It does, but it's fine.
If the child calls the parent and the parent calls the child, and then you know it's just looping around.
Child calls the parent. Yeah, it should be fine though. Super fun, more like super important, that one, right? Doesn't make any sense, David. It makes no sense. Okay. What the hell were we doing? Oh yeah, we checked if it was a pawn, and in that case we wanna destroy it.
My projectiles are hitting myself, I think.
They're hitting yourself?
Yeah.
Could you be more specific?
Hitting yourself.
Yeah, stop hitting yourself! Stop hitting yourself! Well, what do you mean?
No, like when the projectiles spawn, I think they sweep into itself and instantly destroys.
Oh yeah,
itself.
It sweep into the camera. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only reason that's not happening for me is because I don't think the camera mesh actually has any collision.
Yeah, I added some other functionality yesterday, so I think it's that.
All right. Well, we die now, so that's good. Yeah, the way to fix that probably would I would say the easiest fix is to just make them spawn a little bit forward. Here. So when you're spawning a projectile, I would probably do the get actor location plus get actor forward vector times 200 or something. Just to offset the spawn location a little bit forward. So you're spawning them outside of the outside of the actor. I'm not gonna upload this video. It's incriminating. I'm not gonna upload this today. Sorry. What?
I need the first 20 minutes, please.
What are you gonna say, Nicholas?
Just like the get actor forward vector. Is that just like a normalized like 1 unit?
Yes.
Like it, but then because it's Unreal, the unit is like 1 centimeters instead of.
So that's why I do times 200. So place it 200 centimeters in front. Let's actually fix that properly though, because we might as well talk a little bit about. Can you turn the video in I mean, I was joking. I will upload it. I won't like it, but I will upload it. Let's talk a little bit about the collision, just because it's good to know. It is one of the most like unknown, unreal facts, I would say. Like many designers at Hazelight still didn't really know how the collision actually worked, like what the different object types and trace channels were. So it is quite complicated and it is quite unknown. So we're not gonna go a deep dive, of course. We're just gonna touch on it a little bit, but let's do it. So I'm gonna replicate what you have. I'm gonna add like a big collision to this guy just to make the thing break. So instead of this camera, I'm just gonna add a big cube. Bye bye camera head. There we go. Gonna make sure it has block all dynamic on the collision here. Yeah. So now when they're shooting, we don't even see the ball because they're hitting the actor it's coming from, right? So they're hitting the actor itself. Oh god. So we want to set up the collision a little bit to say that, hey, this projectile, it should really only collide with like the level and the pawns, you know? It should not collide with this enemy here. So if we look here at the, camera head now, or the cube head, I guess, in the ML actor. Looking at the mesh in collision presets, here we have this object type here. And if I just put this to custom, like collision presets, and I just hit custom here, now I can actually change these. So there are a couple of object types already predefined in Unreal. And this would be, I don't remember what exactly it's called in Unity. Isn't it called object type? Or is it just channel? I don't quite remember. But there is a similar thing in Unity. Like this kind of thing. So there's like world static, which is stuff in the level that doesn't move. So that's static stuff. Then we have world dynamic. So that's stuff in the world, like usually anything really, that moves. Then we have pawn, and that's pawns, physics bodies, that's physics bodies, vehicles, that's vehicles, destructibles, that's destructible. I don't know, these are just like general terms, like these aren't actually tied to anything, like you don't have to use these at all. It's just kind of helpful default object types. But let's add a new one. So I'm gonna go into settings, project settings. And then I'm gonna go to collision here. So engine collision. And here we have object channels. So that is types of objects that can exist in the world. And then we also have trace channels. I'm not going to talk about those now. We'll talk about those later. But that's a different type of collision. We're going to talk about object channels, and that's objects in the world. So I'm going to add a new object type. I'm going to call it enemy. We have a default response here. So that's just like, in the matrix, what should the default response for all other object types be? I'm just going to set the default to block. Sometimes if it's late in the project and you're adding these sort of things, perhaps it could be better to do ignore, just to make sure that nothing breaks. But, I mean... So this is kind of similar to using tags for collisions in Unity, right? A bit more involved, maybe. I'm not too familiar with the Unity collision system. I worked with it like twice. But it's the same concept, I think. I remember fucking around with their matrix and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a matrix where everything has basically a tag, and then you just check, okay, does this thing collide with this thing at this, like, and like a little check mark.
Yes.
And there's a bunch of boxes.
Yes. I think the difference between Unity and this is that it's way more customizable. So, I believe, like, don't lynch me here, but I believe in Unity you can't configure one object to have like, oh, ignore the matrix and do something else, like have your own matrix. Collision matrix kind of uses always the default project-wide matrix, whereas here you can just kind of customize it however you want. So I'm gonna add an enemy object channel. So that's gonna be a channel for all the enemies in the game, an object type really. So I've added the enemy object type here. Could also add the projectile object type if I wanted to, but I think enemy will suffice for now. So now we can set objects to be this enemy object type. And I'm gonna do that in the mesh here. I won't care too much about the aggro sphere, because nothing is actually blocking against that. So I won't actually care about this. I will only care about this little mesh here, the cube. I will set the object type here to be enemy. So that means for something to collide with this, cube, in their matrix they must have set block for enemies here. So what we can do now is that we can head into our projectile. And in its collision sphere, like the root component of the projectile, we can head on and make this custom. Again, custom for the collision preset. And in the matrix here for every other type, so this is how this sphere will interact with every other type in the game. We can go into enemy here and hit ignore. So that means that this sphere, while it's tracing, it will block everything except for enemies. So that means that this collision sphere will pass through enemies without doing anything. It won't call overlaps, it won't block, it will just pass through like it's not even there. So this is how this sphere will interact with other objects. That's kind of what these settings are doing. Like if I sweep into a world static, what will happen then? If I sweep into a pawn, what will happen then? So that's how this object interacts with other object types. Of course, the object type for this guy is world dynamic. It doesn't really matter. We can make him a pawn if we wanted to. It doesn't exactly matter. I'm gonna give it a world dynamic, which is kind of the standard moving object channel. So why not? So now, if this guy shoots, then the bullet goes through him. Because in the projectile, we've set enemy object types to be ignored. So it doesn't matter that it's spawning inside of the enemy, it will go straight through. Because when it's sweeping and it's seeing, oh, there's an object here, but it's type enemy, then it is like, okay, that's set to ignore, so don't do anything.
Why do the enemies go straight to the terrain, all those stairs and stuff?
Because when we're moving the enemy, we're not sweeping or anything. We're just adding actor wall offsets.
Right, of course.
I have no detail in that. Only in the sphere. You might have to hit this little arrow here. What's happening? Let's see. Glasso. Open link. Oh, there's nothing there. It looks like you didn't. It looks like you didn't put the component as a U property and make it visible anywhere. So I think that's your issue there. Okay. I think we're gonna stop there for today. Let's just take questions for a little bit and then call it a Friday, call it the weekend.
Can you share your code with us somewhere so we can take a look at this?
Yeah, I'll share the project somewhere.
Thank you.
So you guys can download it. So this has been the first week of Unreal. Unreal is quite a complicated engine. It is quite a steep learning curve. There's a lot of finicky, detaily things that you kind of just need to get through before you can start being productive. So you guys are very brave, and I'm proud of you. But it's gonna take maybe one more week or so for you guys to really get over all the bullshit, so we can actually start making things.
Feels a lot better now than Monday morning. So.
That's good. That's good.
The only problem I have so far is that I can't find any good documentation or any good examples when it comes to doing the C++. Because it's this does that. Just one sentence.
Yeah.
It tells you nothing.
Yeah, that's
not even an example.
That's kind of the second part of the steep learning curve, that the documentation is kind of sucks dick. And this is kind of the way it is. Unfortunately. But yeah, use me, use your mentor. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Especially during class. I love it when people ask questions when I'm doing a lecture. The worst that can happen for me is I do a lecture and there's not a single question. Then I'm like, okay, I've fucked up. But yeah. So just hang in there. Just play around. Ask questions. And then it will click. Eventually. Hopefully. Maybe. Maybe it will click. Cool. Yeah, like I said before, Monday lesson has been moved to Tuesday. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday. 10 o'clock.
What are you doing on Monday?
My girlfriend is signing a contract for her new apartment, so I'm following her and being a emotional support.
So you're ditching us for your significant other?
Yes. Yes.
Girlfriend? I thought it was you
How
and
fucking
Niklas.
dare you?
Oh my fucking god, guys.
Yeah. Are you gonna do that when you and me move in as well?
Yes. We can be roommates, but my girlfriend will always top prio. Yeah. So cool. Any last questions before we call it a weekend?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you too.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
You too.
Yeah, thanks, Emil.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Emil.
Nice lecture. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other compliments you want to say before I leave? My hair?
No, not really.
Yeah, okay.
You have a nice skin.
I have an
thank
insult because I'm offended that you missed my roast in the chat before.
What was your roast?
My roast was you said, "Oh, sorry Tove, you know I hate you because I want to be you or something," and I said, "No, it's all right. I don't take shit from people who are below 170 centimeters." But you completely ignored that comment, and I was boiling on the inside.
Okay, well,
Hey, Emil's a short king.
You didn't have to say that to it. You didn't have to know.
I had to.
Yeah, it was great.
You didn't have to know that
I
I'm a
didn't have
manlet.
to, but I really wanted
Okay,
to.
I'm leaving now. My
I
ego
thought it
is
was
hurt.
very funny.
Wait,
Thank you for today's lecture, Emil.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit in the shower and cry for a while now. So okay, I won't be on Discord for a while. Okay, have a nice weekend, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.